I'm so glad to be here to welcome you to the Clark Howard Show, where our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. In this episode, I've got something I'm really excited about. A new way to protect yourself from title fraud. So also, we've talked a lot about the rising cost of homeowners insurance, but I've neglected to warn you about a problem that has become so ever present with the run-up in home prices and construction prices. You and I being underinsured when the chips are down, when we do have a problem, and I'm going to talk about that. But first, man, it was such a news of the weird story about someone attempting to sell Graceland. And if you're not familiar, I don't know if you've ever been to Graceland. I was there once. You ever been to Graceland?
One time, yep.
And I was not big into Elvis Presley, but I was with somebody who was, so
yeah,
we
went. It's kind of fun to see.
You think so?
I think so, the inside. And it's like a time capsule. It's pretty cool. Even if you're not into Elvis, it's a neat house.
But the whole thing was a fake with trying to sell it. Not the house,
right,
but the sale of it was all fake. And it was absolutely unreal how this whole plot had been contrived. And it led to so many people being freaked out that somebody could just as easily steal their own home. And that's bad, ugly. So what you need to know is that there have been these bizarre crimes where someone has come in and stolen someone's home right out from under them, one of two ways. Through doing a lot of fraudulent paperwork where they pretend to be you on a home that has no mortgage and they sell it out from under you. Very, very rare. Little more common with a home that is owned free and clear or has very little debt against the equity in it. Someone impersonates you and takes out a home equity line of credit pretending to be you and then passes checks against that home equity line as if they're you, creating all this debt against the home. Now, first of all, again, I want to state the good news. This crime is very, very rare. But it can happen. And that's why there are a lot of ads out there pitching you having like a title alert service. I want to tell you a few things. One, it's likely not necessary for you to pay for one of these alert services. There are easier and better steps you can take. And let's start with the simplest. More and more counties around the country, an increasing number of counties, are doing something I first talked about probably 5 or 6 years ago, where they offer a free registry where you can contact your county where they maintain title records, and they will notify you anytime there's any activity involving your title. And really simple, really free, and becoming more common because no local government that records property information wants to be in a situation where they have bad records. Makes it tough for them to collect taxes. So their interest is the same as yours, protecting the sanctity of your title on your home. Another thing that is said frequently by people involved with identity theft issues, you start receiving odd mail about your home, and it could be a variety of things. But most often, you'll see something about your recent inquiry taking out a new loan or taking out a home equity line of credit or anything like that. That's a key tip-off somebody may be playing games. But it's funny, story after story about that came out after the Graceland thing. What did they recommend you do? What was the number one thing they recommended? A credit freeze. That's right. I mean, I'm the man from Credit Freeze. I may also be the man from Roth. But the thing is, with the credit freeze, it is something that helps with so many areas where somebody may try to impersonate you and borrow money as if they're you, taking out credit cards, anything like that. It also helps with this, with the main problem that's taking place, which is people taking out loans falsely as if they're you. So if you've not set up a credit freeze yet, even though you may have heard me talk about it for years and years and years and years and years, please get it done, free to do. If you don't know how to do it, go to clark.com/credit freeze. Last thing with the title issues. When you're buying a home or refining one, always talk about owner's title insurance. You're required to buy title insurance to protect the lender, and then I'm asking you to pay extra money for one that I've always recommended that protects you in the event that there's any issue with your title. But title insurance now has morphed. And there's title insurance that only is backward looking, that protects you against things that happened before you took out the loan or bought the home. But now there's title insurance as well that costs almost nothing extra, that protects you not just backward looking, but also forward looking. That if somebody does try to steal your home out from under you or take out a borrowing as if they're you, the title insurance policy not only is backward looking, also forward looking. Again, at almost no additional cost. And different lenders call that product different things. But what you want to ask is your title insurance policy you're recommending to me only for things that have happened in the past till right now, or does it protect from the past and then into the future?
What about if you're already in your home? Can you buy a new title insurance policy? You can't.
No.
Okay, so this can only happen
the other
when you're
things
buying.
really matter. Watching weird mail that comes, registering with your county if your county has a registry service. And then the third thing, credit freeze, credit freeze, credit freeze. Do it. It affects none of your existing credit. Just prevent somebody from taking out credit as if they're you at any time.
All right, we'll go to some questions. Michelle from Ohio says, I was wondering if there's any way financially to purchase a duplex with a friend. Each of us could afford a $250,000 mortgage, so if we combined our buying power, we could afford a $500,000 place in a nice neighborhood. We would each be living on one side. Maybe one of us could buy it outright and let the other one rent to own. If one of us remodels our side, do we split all the costs? Is there a way to have both of our names on the mortgage? I feel like we would need a specific lawyer.
You do. And normally it would be a real estate lawyer, and not just somebody who does high production closings, but someone who's been involved with years of experience in more complicated situations. And Michelle, I would encourage you, in addition to looking at duplexes, look at properties that include a main dwelling and an accessory unit. Could be a garage apartment, a basement apartment, or it could be a separate cottage on the property. Many times that will help you widen your search and having a two-home property. But in terms of a situation like you want to do, doing the upfront work properly with a real estate lawyer where both of you sit down and say, this is what we're trying to accomplish. And they tell you, well, this is my favorite way to do this in Ohio, where you live, is to do this, 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 and this to protect each of your interests going forward. The upfront work is going to be key to making this not just successful when you buy, but over time as well, and ultimately when you might want to sell.
But lots of problems could come up with that if one wants to sell and the other doesn't, right?
Yeah, and you're both obligated on the loan. It is normal course of things. The alternative you're talking about, where one of you takes out the full amount and the other is on a rent-to-own kind of thing, that gets, from our experience, very dicey.
John in California says, I'm super excited to have the opportunity to move back to North Carolina to be closer to my family. I'm wondering what you would recommend for shipping goods as cheaply as possible. I will be shipping my car and taking a one-way flight. The auto transport company is saying we can have up to 100 pounds in the vehicle. What would you recommend to ship the remaining stuff? In terms of goods, it would fill an entire car.
So if it's just a carload worth of stuff, you're talking about moving from California to North Carolina, you're a perfect situation for You Ship, the letter U, ship.com. You Ship runs kind of like, I think it's called a reverse auction, where you post for a period of time an offering to people who move goods and stuff. You post what you need to move, how much it weighs, the size of everything combined, and you post that, and you give people a period of time that's acceptable to pick up. The wider a pickup time zone is, the cheaper the rates you'll get. The wider the delivery zone is in terms of times, the cheaper price you'll get. And what You Ship is there an auction site for this, almost like a specialty eBay. And you'll see reputational reviews on different bidders. You'll see the prices post, and the prices will be all over the board. And it's just a matter of finding that right combination of price and the lengthy number of reviews you'll see. You'll have a good idea who to use. Now, I've used You Ship twice to ship vehicles and had a great experience with the first company I used to ship a vehicle, mediocre with the second, but in both cases, the vehicles arrived in perfect condition, and it really works with both vehicles and goods. Again, the letter U, not Y-O-U, youship.com.
John and Cal, that was John's question. Sorry. Okay, we have two about this. I'm going to read them both. Renee in Ohio says, Clark, the recent discussions about having a personalized message on our cell phone has me totally stressed out. I own a small business, and when a person calls my cell phone, I want them to know they got the correct phone number. What about having someone else record your message with your name and business names so crooks cannot use it to steal or duplicate your voice? I usually answer my phone, hello, this is Renee, but I guess I shouldn't even be doing that. Any other suggestions when you do want to personalize a message? And then Bob in Vermont says, I listen to you every morning while I take my dog for a walk. I've been thinking about your listener's comment about removing your voicemail message recording so people can get your voice to use with AI in some malicious manner. If Big Brother really wants your voice, they have millions of recording points from Amazon, Alexa, Google Home, and I'm sure many other devices in our homes to record conversations and get your voice. At this point, isn't removing a simple voicemail message recording being a little paranoid?
Maybe, Bob, maybe, but it's so simple for a crook. If you're a small business owner and somebody calls up and they know they want to use AI to use voice identification with business owners, because businesses tend to have more money running through their accounts than an individual consumer. And so just taking the simple precautions of not using your own voice for your business voicemail is a good idea. And Renee's question, you can use a digitized version like YouMail is very popular with small businesses, YOU mail, unlike the prior
Unlike
You
You
Ship,
Ship,
which
yeah.
was the letter U. So with YouMail, it answers, if it knows who's calling, it'll say, hello, Christa. Clark is not available right now, or whatever. And so it's all digitized and not your own voice and nothing that's of any use to a crook. So, yeah, Bob, maybe the problem is so big that just simply controlling what's on a voicemail is not going to make a difference, but it is a worthy step. The thing with voice identification is I'm really worried, as financial houses have looked at this as how they're going to eliminate the problems with account theft, is your voice pattern. And now we have this problem with AI capturing your voice exactly and fooling those validation systems. This is a tough area. And it's all because we do business with so many organizations all across the country, and criminals take advantage of the vulnerability that people don't really know who they're dealing with anymore. And that's why the theft of funds is such a hot target for crooks. And any step you can take that's simple, like not having your own voice on a voicemail, is something I think is useful to do.
I'm jealous of Bob's dog getting to walk in Vermont in the summer. It's the best.
But I'm not jealous of Bob at all. Bob, I mean, you walking your dog in midwinter with all that darkness in New England in the winter and the cold. I don't do cold. You know, cold with a purpose to me is when I'm on a ski mountain.
Well, maybe Bob skis in Vermont. It's a great place to ski, for
That
sure.
is true, but the dog's not skiing the mountains with you. But anyway, Vermont is gorgeous. If you've never been to Vermont and New Hampshire, going to the Green Mountains and the White Mountains is just a wonderful experience. Don't go in the summer, too many tourists. Go after Labor Day.
Well, the fall is a big tourist time for the leaves.
Yeah, that is true. But if you go early, if you go right after Labor Day, you're good. You're in this betwixt and between. You're after the peak of the summer and before all the leaf sightseeing. I know there are people who think I talk too much about travel. Sorry, I'm always thinking about travel. It's just the way I'm wired. Coming up ahead, I want to talk about when you're not traveling, your home, something I want you to know to protect your wallet while you protect the equity you built up in your home. So, homeowners insurance is really difficult right now. A lot of people are finding that even without ever having made a claim, they're getting canceled, what insurers like to call non-renewed, getting canceled by your homeowner's insurer, and the premiums keep going up and the coverages seem to decline and blah, 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 blah. It's a rough time because the industry has flat out not been profitable. The homeowners insurance industry has lost money. I read a report recently that USAA, the huge military insurer, between the problems of auto insurance and homeowners insurance, the USAA last year lost money for the first time in its history. And this is a problem across the homeowners insurance industry more than auto, but a huge problem with insurers losing money. So they're losing money. Who are they going to squeeze? You and me. At the same time, we've had this big escalation of home values over the last 5 years. And then the cost when a home is damaged or becomes a total loss, getting that home repaired or starting from scratch, building a new home, homeowners are losing big time. Overwhelmingly, homeowners are not being made whole. The whole idea of insurance is to make you whole after an event. And people are suffering an average loss. I saw a story recently that industry data shows that homeowners are only getting back 65 cents of each dollar they need from their insurance to rebuild a home, the parts that are damaged, or if you have to start from scratch, you end up on average 35% short. I mean, that's an ugly number. And people are seeing the high cost of insurance. We've got two things going on at once. We have people who say, I give up, I own my home free and clear, I'm just not going to carry insurance. I've talked about that before as a dangerous idea because you worked hard through the years to own that place free and clear. It gets heavily damaged or destroyed, you're out that money. You don't buy at least a liability policy. Somebody gets injured or sues you for whatever reason. You have no insurer backing you in the event you're facing a big claim against you, a big judgment from a court against you. So I don't like you going without insurance. But if you have insurance, and anybody who has a mortgage is going to be required to have it, you may be already upset what the premiums are to start with. But then when I tell you how underinsured people are, how do you handle paying more? It's tough. But if you look at what the premiums are versus what you could end up with out of pocket if you're inadequately insured, that's real serious stuff. So, I want you to think about a couple of things. Raising your deductible on your homeowner's insurance as high as you can stand if you own your home free and clear, or as high as your mortgage lender will permit you to do if you do carry a mortgage. And then at the other end, make sure you have enough coverage that in the event something bad happens with your home that requires that it be repaired or rebuilt, that you have enough insurance coverage to do that. Now, some insurers, and it varies by insurers, will let you buy coverage that makes sure that you can rebuild your home. So that if, let's say, building codes have changed or the cost of construction is more than anticipated, the insurer absorbs that and not you. You know, they're calculating the odds of risk of all these different things. And it's not as expensive as you think to make sure you're adequately covered for the true cost of construction at this time and the true value of your home at this time. But being frightfully underinsured is a real problem, and you're much better off any day having a higher deductible and higher coverage than a lower deductible and a lower ceiling of coverage. So, Christa, what are you starting with?
Ricky in Delaware says, I am in need of replacing my HVAC system, which is a natural gas furnace and a central air conditioning system that uses the refrigerant 410A. AC systems that use 410A are being phased out this year, and starting in 2025, they will be selling AC systems that use a different refrigerant. Should I wait to replace my system until next year with a system that uses the new refrigerant, or should I replace it now with one that uses 410A for a refrigerant?
So the 410A is being phased down, not out, which means it'll still be available some form or another. Someone will almost certainly come up, or more than one company will come up with alternatives that will continue to run our air conditioners past mid next decade when the phase down is supposed to be complete. But I would ask you to look at something else. If you need to replace your system right now, look at a heat pump as an alternative. Heat pumps are a whole different way of providing heating and cooling to your home. And there are special incentives available right now from the feds and from many states. Don't know if Delaware offers an incentive program for it, but there are many incentives that would make it worth it for you to go heat pump instead of thinking the traditional way of having an AC unit running on electricity and then natural gas for heat.
Tracy in North Carolina says, Hi Clark, I've recently started getting offers from an insurance, term life insurance, from my credit union. They never used to send these constant solicitations. Has this insurer just stepped up their game, or have they made some sort of a deal with credit unions?
So a lot of credit unions are looking for ancillary revenue, and doing referral for term life insurance has become a go-to. And if they're going to sell anything, level term is what I prefer. And there'd be nothing wrong with buying it from your credit union as long as the insurer that they're pitching has a solid rating with AM Best. And Christa, you looked this one up and it's only an A?
It's an A.
So I only like you to buy level term from an insurer rated A+ or preferably A++, which is a much higher level of financial strength than you're being pitched by the credit union with an insurer that only is rated A by AM Best.
And we have a guide to buying term life insurance on Clark.com.
And that's because I want you to know insurance is a product that they refer to as being sold, not bought. People don't really get around to buying insurance, so they tend to be pitched by salespeople who are not going to pitch what you should be buying. Almost almost every buyer of insurance should be buying simple level term insurance. It's very, very rare that it's appropriate for somebody to buy what the insurance industry likes to call permanent insurance. The good kind of that is whole life. The really awful, hideous, disgusting type of that is any form of universal life insurance.
Wayne in Georgia says, my father was looking to buy some gold and ended up purchasing $50,000 of coins from a company. He recently passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And my mom asked me to see if I could sell them. My sister said that when my dad received the coins, it wasn't what he thought he was buying, gold. It appears they sell gold and silver coins as bundles, and the gold coins are branded. The packaging would then appear to allow them to sell way beyond commodity pricing. It also appears difficult to sell the coins, and the company has to date been non-responsive when I reach out. Fortunately, my parents worked hard, saved money, and a loss on this will not be material for my mom. It does seem like consumers should be warned about this price they pay and the marketability of the products that these companies are pushing as investment vehicles.
Thank you for that post in so many ways I can't tell you. First, gold is not an investment. Gold is a hedge. Gold, other than the small amount used in production of jewelry, is not something that creates productive capacity. It's not like investing in a company that builds a factory, that builds product, and will have either a positive return or not. Gold is a hedge, meaning it protects you in bad times. And gold has been very popular around the world the last few years because of the loss in confidence people have had from the high inflation that so much of the world faced in the aftermath and during and the aftermath of COVID. So gold is being pitched everywhere. Gold is a product that is expensive to buy and expensive to sell, has a big spread. In fact, I don't know if I mentioned the story recently about the people who bought gold at Costco. Did I talk about that on the podcast?
We talked about them about Costco selling gold, but
I didn't talk about how much money people are losing when they sell the gold they buy at Costco. So Costco, every time they put gold for sale, sells it in a big hurry. I mean, people see it come live, they buy up everything Costco has.
Sure, because you think Costco.
Well, they're selling it at a great price, relatively speaking. But when somebody goes to sell it, Costco doesn't buy your gold back. So people are in the free market, and they're shocked how much money they lose when they go to resell the gold. This situation that happened to your late father is more serious because he was pitched that the gold had special value, the coins had special value because of how they were imprinted and that they would have value beyond just the gold itself, which was a bunch of hooey. Hooey. So you sell the gold and silver in the free market for the value of the gold and silver in it, and stop wasting time really with this marketing company that took advantage of your dad.
Terrible.
So you will be able to generate money from the sale of it. It will not probably come close, though, even with the rise in the value, particularly of gold in recent years. It likely will not come close to making up for what your late father paid for it. And I'm so glad that your mom is financially secure and will be okay in spite of this.
Yep.
And again, gold is not an investment. Remember this. What is an investment? Something where you put your money at risk as productive capital to an organization or even a business you run yourself, where you're providing goods or services into the marketplace that creates enhanced value. A dollar invested becomes either worth more or less than that based on the activity. You invest in a stock or an exchange-traded fund or a mutual fund or an index fund. You are putting your money at risk for a reward based on the productive capacity or the goods and services created by the companies whose stock you own part of through the fund or the direct stock you buy. That's an investment. You invest when you start your own business. Same idea. You're not putting money into a business hoping to lose money. You're hoping you are providing a good or service to the marketplace that enhances value. Gold, it just kind of sits there. And in good times doesn't perform well, in bad times performs well, but not as an investment. And that is an important distinction with a difference. And by the way, anytime you're buying a TV and the salesperson then puts the hard sell on you for the extended warranty and says, don't you want to protect your investment in this television? A TV is not an investment. And don't ever buy the extended warranty. Not ever. And that's it for us today. I want to tell you, we got so many more questions that you'll hear on the podcast or watch in our YouTube show than we can address all the days put together. So I want you to know that if you have a question that's troubling you or a problem you don't know how to solve, we provide one-on-one free advice to you through our Team Clark Consumer Action Center. And you can reach them, find out how to do so, and get information provided to you one-on-one at clark.com/CAC. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll be with you tomorrow where you can either listen or watch our podcast.